My name is Shane Brodie. I'm a trans man. I've been traveling around the country talking to trans, intersex, non-binary, gender non-conforming people, plus some parents and people who are adjacent to the community, also allies. And we're talking about identity, beliefs, religious, political beliefs, and also what's happening in somebody's locality, their state, their county, etc. You know, there's a lot going on. Speaking of that, so we're in a garage right now, and it's really a lot of fun. There's a lot of things in the background, and I really love it. We're out here in farm country. Like, this is serious farm country. So my allergies are just going crazy at the moment. Because I usually live in Alaska or in cities. So I'm not used to like all the pollen and all that. But I so enjoy being out here. It's so quiet.
I love it.
Oh, it's so quiet. And all the birds are just going nuts. And it's so great. Such a beautiful, pleasant day. Anyway, enough about me. I'm going to pass it over to my guest here, and they're going to introduce themselves.
Good morning. I am Lori Hansen, and I am here in central Iowa.
Yeah.
Right smack in the middle, just north of Des Moines, north of Ames. And out in the country, as Shane said.
Yeah.
We love it.
Yeah, this is not hobby farm territory. This is like real, actual farm territory.
Yes.
Yeah. I noticed when I came to a crossroads just up the way, I looked each way and I was like, oh my goodness, the road just goes on forever. You can see miles and miles and miles down the road.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like out of a movie or something. But it's real.
And we're just 4 miles from town.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually didn't realize it was so far from Des Moines.
Yeah.
Because I started out from there this morning. I looked up on Google. I was like, oh no, I better leave right now. Didn't realize that. So in terms of like the trans umbrella, where would you fit there?
I am a parent
Okay.
of a transgender man.
Okay.
And I am a friend and an ally.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. I'm glad that you put friend in there. I haven't used that word yet. But I love that word because actually I used to hang out with a lot of Quakers. And they call themselves the Society of Friends. And
yes.
They often just use that term in reference to each other. And actually, in the way that I speak, when I meet somebody, I call them friend.
Yes.
Even if I don't know them. Yeah. It's just a thing that I do.
Yeah.
Instead of an honorific or something, I say
think
friend.
that's nice.
Yeah, yeah. Instead of ma'am or sir or something. So you are would you say that you're cisgendered then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And are you part of the queer community in any way, or would you say that you're heterosexual / straight?
I would say heterosexual / straight, but then again, aren't we all on the spectrum?
I don't know. I think Kinsey had some research about that.
There is the male side, there is the female side, and imagine a line between the two of them. And I believe that at any point in any given day, you could be anywhere on that line.
Okay.
Everyone.
Are you talking about gender?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Some days I'm more masculine, some days I'm more feminine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I also feel very... kind of diverse within my own self, So I started out life as female. They call that AFAB, assigned female at birth. And then I went through a transition, as people say, and now I'm a man. But I feel like I also have some feminine qualities about me.
Yes.
That I don't want to get rid of.
Right.
I actually really enjoy them. Yeah. So here you are. You're a parent.
Yes.
Of a trans person out here in serious farm country.
Serious.
Yeah. What's that like?
It was difficult at first.
I did notice a lot of Trump signs around here.
Oh, Lord. Yes. And they infuriate me every time I see them, and it's all I can do to keep my car straight on the road and not drive through the sign.
I noticed some of them are really old too.
Yes, they are.
They're still up, and I guess they're waiting for them to rot or something.
The whole time. And I thought there was a law that said you had to get those signs down.
Oh, really? Oh.
But maybe not.
I don't know.
Maybe not, because one's been up the whole time that Biden's been in office. So, yeah.
I guess people are bitter or stubborn or something. I'm also been bitter that Biden's in office, but that's a whole other take.
Yes. Gosh. And here in Iowa, we have our Governor Reynolds. And the Republicans in this legislature have taken away rights that we have enjoyed for years in Iowa, and that our LGBTQ community has enjoyed for years in Iowa.
I heard that, that Iowa used to be more purple.
Yes.
And that over the last, somebody earlier said, over the last 10 years or so, there was a hard shift towards going right here. Have you noticed that? And is that kind of the timeline for you that you've noticed it?
Absolutely. Sorry.
So, no, it's okay.
You can't chew ice on here.
No, I don't
know what I'm thinking. All right.
So, one of my earlier interviewees mentioned that Iowa used to be more of a purple state. So, that meaning Democrats and Republicans kind of had power.
Yes.
And it wasn't just one party having power. So there was kind of a back and forth, more moderate, maybe. You
Correct.
Might say. So what is kind of the timeline of that? What do you think was happening in that kind of shift, I guess?
Trump was in office.
Okay.
When it came time to elect a new governor. And she, of course, is Republican. And
this is Kim Reynolds.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And it was a fight for the seats for our legislature. And
what had she been doing before? Was she a legislator before that?
I honestly don't know.
All right. Okay.
I don't know. But once she got into office and all of the Republican legislators took over the voting then, they took back the rights that we had been given.
And what rights are those specifically?
Transgender, health care for transgender children. You can't do that in Iowa anymore.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, people in surrounding states would come to Iowa for affirming health care.
Right.
Because we were able to do that here.
Right. And there was really world-class healthcare here. There's large medical hospitals and also schools.
Yes.
Here. Yeah.
Yes. And that was all suddenly taken away. And it's to the point where teachers are to report students. Okay.
Yeah. Just be careful about
that. Okay. It has gotten to the point where teachers are expected to say who they believe is transgender.
Okay.
And
just by visual or how they act.
Yes.
So then they report on these children?
Yes.
To whom?
I would expect to the administration, school administration, where then it would be discussed with the child and with the parents of the child what bathrooms are appropriate to use at the school.
Okay.
And I don't believe they're able to be called by their new name.
Okay.
I think they're to be called by their dead name.
Or their gender.
Yes. Yeah. And constantly misgendered and definitely no health care for them.
That's so strange because, I mean, I'm thinking about what people say are conservative values, and that means like the government stays out of people's private business.
Yes.
So but that's often not the case, as we see with conservatives. But why do they feel empowered to get into like somebody's family life and somebody's gender identity and what name they go by, that doesn't seem to be the government's business.
No, and asking teachers to make that call is absolutely putting them on the spot and calling their values into the picture.
Right.
When
I don't think they're trained for that either.
they aren't.
Yeah.
They aren't.
What kind of training would they go through? I mean,
Right.
Do they also have a psychology degree on top of that?
And as far as suspicions go,
suspicion.
how will you prove that?
And this culture of like it's almost like we're tattling or we're telling on somebody. And I'm sure that children would be frightened about that. Like,
They are.
Like, what else are they going to tell about these kids? And I don't know. It sounds really, really scary.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful that my son is 21 years old.
So he's out of that. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
what was it like when he was in school, though?
he started the GSA, the Gay Straight Alliance in middle school.
Yeah.
At his school, and came out as transgender.
Okay.
And the teachers were all on board and behind him 100%. And many of the kids came to the meetings, and not just LGBTQ kids.
Right,
it was allies, friends.
Because it's a gay and straight alliance.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it was awesome until some old man in town got wind of what was going on and called the school and threatened to come to the school and hurt my son.
Oh, my goodness.
Prevent him from getting into the building.
Wow. So did the police apprehend that person? Because that's a terroristic threat.
After a bit, he called our home and threatened my son, threatened to brand his genitals so that everyone would know.
Wow. Okay. So is this person in jail now, or?
Well, he's old, very old, and in very ill health. Not just mental health, but physical health.
Okay.
So the sheriff did arrest him because we did the *69 thing on my phone, and it went to his phone. They went and arrested him.
You were able to find out this person's phone number.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And they arrested him, and then he was released.
Why released?
My guess is because they didn't want the liability for his medical.
Okay.
While in jail.
Even though this person was making terroristic threats
at
school.
Yes.
And also at your home.
But they figured he couldn't drive a car.
Okay.
He lived in a different town than the school. So they figured he wasn't that much of a menace.
Okay.
But then he also had a thing for one of the teachers at the school and took some of his own medication and crushed it up and put it in an envelope and mailed it to her.
Okay. So,
which gets the feds involved.
Right. So that was meant to mimic like anthrax or something.
Whatever was in his brain.
Yeah.
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 And so the feds came and arrested him.
Okay. So the FBI.
Yes.
Okay.
And they held him for a while.
Wow.
But he's free again. And again, I suspect it's because of his age and his health that they don't want the liability for taking care of him.
Okay. So multiple terroristic threats and some actions, yet
free.
This person is free. Wow.
Right.
Wow. And at the same time, we're in this culture now where trans people are being informed,
yes,
as if that's some sort of crime.
Yes.
And their freedoms are being taken away.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting situation here in Iowa. So your son then, I'm assuming, goes back to school.
Yes.
What was that like afterwards?
The kids really didn't care.
Okay. Yeah.
They didn't think it was a big deal that an old man might meet him outside the door.
Okay.
But there was police presence at the school for probably a couple of weeks.
Okay.
To make sure all the kids got in safe and got out safe.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
But then after that, it all died down.
Because this sort of thing can inspire other people.
Right. Right.
to do things as well. Yeah.
And what prompted him was an article in the local paper about my son and me and his accomplishments and you know, his story.
Okay. Wow.
And that's when the guy went nuts.
Yeah. So it sounds like the kids were pretty resilient, though.
Oh, yeah.
And they kind of shook that off.
Definitely.
What was the rest of his schooling like?
Pretty normal, except for the COVID part.
Okay.
You know, he was a senior the first year of COVID, so they just stopped school and
No
that
prom.
was it.
No prom, right?
No prom.
No nothing.
No graduation. And so...
No commencement, yeah.
Right. It was kind of sad.
Yeah.
But they made it through, and he's in his adult life now and happy as a clam.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Does he live kind of in this area in central Iowa?
Okay. Yep. He just lives a few miles away.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so that period of time sounds, I mean, pretty scary though.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you deal with that as a mother?
Well, my husband and I went to firearms training.
Okay.
And we purchased...
Right after that?
Right after that. And we purchased handguns.
Yeah.
And we know how to use them.
Okay, great. Awesome.
I will protect my child at any cost.
Yeah, good. Actually, I've met quite a few parents recently. Some of them I have wanted to be interviewed. Some have not. Some changed their mind at the last moment. But that's kind of been a recurring theme that, of course, parents should be, very protective of their children. And part of that is sometimes firearms. Some of it is, definitely.
We live out here in the country.
Yeah.
It would take someone a few minutes to get out here. Was there any trouble?
Oh, yeah. It would take a while.
Yeah. And so we're ready for any kind of that. If there's any of that situation going on, we would be prepared.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely no infrastructure out here. There's no city buildings. I mean, the biggest building I see is like a farmhouse. I don't even see any silos or anything out here. Where might those be?
There's quite a few 4 miles west.
Okay. Is that where train tracks are?
No, but that's where a large farm operation is.
Oh, okay.
And they have their own grain elevator.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
One of the big
farmers here.
Ones.
Yeah.
So
another reason that me as a parent am speaking out is because I was also the president of PFLAG here.
Oh, great. I love them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it got down to just a few sets of parents. And
did people get scared or?
No, not really. No. It just, during COVID, we didn't meet, of course.
Okay.
And except we did some online.
Yeah. A lot of businesses also failed. Even gay bars failed.
Yes.
A lot of even pride festivals were canceled. All kinds of things were canceled.
Yes. And so now we're coming back hopefully stronger than ever this year and making our presence known again. We actually decommissioned our PFLAG chapter because nobody was coming and nobody would volunteer to do things, and we really didn't seem to have a purpose.
Okay.
I believe we now have a purpose.
Okay.
I want those rights back for our kids.
Okay.
And I want Iowa to be a safe space again for the LGBTQ plus community.
So are you doing some organizing then to bring that back?
Our first PFLAG meeting will be Tuesday, June 13th in Ames at the Youth and Shelter Services building at 5th and Kellogg.
All right.
In the Paul Room, and we'll go from there.
Okay. What kind of place is that, by the way?
It is a place where kids can get help with counseling, having trouble in their home lives, and they can get help there.
Okay. And they just offer you the space to use?
Great. Yeah, it's a safe space for us to meet, as well as the Ames Public Library is also a safe space to meet. So if ever we couldn't get the space at YSS, then we would go to the library. The library has had several successful programs, including LGBTQ+. We do have Drag Story Hour.
Okay.
So far.
Yeah. So far, no problems with that?
Not too much.
Yeah.
A little bit of a hue and cry at the beginning, but not so much now.
Okay. Other places in the country, there's been a lot of problems.
Yes.
Like people showing up wanting to cause problems with
with
kids. I mean, these are
They're
events aimed at
kids.
kids, you know? Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
But there are parents in our communities who have kicked their kids out of the house.
Right. Yes. Right.
And they are couch surfing.
Yeah. Right.
That's not right. I said in the article years ago that I would rather have a transgender child than a dead child.
Yeah.
He was
Thank you for saying that.
He was so very unhappy, and he did attempt suicide. Thank goodness he didn't accomplish that, and we worked past that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't want any other kid to feel like that's what they have to do because they are not accepted and they just can't take it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very important to me. Oh, here comes my younger son.
Okay.
He's been out all night. He's just 19.
Okay.
He's an adult. But I don't want that for other kids.
Yeah. What do you think? Can you tell us about some of the history of PFLAG, or maybe this chapter, and why it's important? I guess. Well, because people might not know what PFLAG is.
PFLAG used to be parents and friends of gay and lesbian folks, and now it's just morphed into, I believe, a support group for LGBTQ plus and their families and friends.
Yes.
So that they feel supported.
Yeah, it's more inclusive now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Much more inclusive.
It has a legacy name, but it's more inclusive.
Right. Much more inclusive, to include everyone in there.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that we resurrect PFLAG in this area.
Yes.
Because there are parents of kids who are transgender, who care and now are not so happy that these laws have changed and things have changed, and now they're not going to be able to have gender affirming care for their child.
Right. It's become very unsafe.
And they've told me that they want to move to Seattle.
Yeah. And that would be quite a jump.
Yes, it
to
would.
Seattle from here.
Yes, it would.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go ahead and take a break.
Yep. That's Cooper. And this is Shane. And Shane, this is my young son, Sam.
Okay. So we took a little bit of a break because your other son came home and we needed to get in some dog pets and whatnot. You were starting to get into kind of what's currently happening with families with trans and queer kids.
Well, here in Iowa, the climate has definitely changed since Kim Reynolds took office as governor. And with a new election coming up, we need to, I believe, marshal our forces and get people back into office who will support our agenda, which is equality.
Is there anybody here in Iowa that's running for office, or that you've seen who might in the future run for office, who you think is saying some good things?
There are just a couple of early people out yet, and I really don't know anything about them other than that they are Democrat. But I need to know. You know, they need to step up and be louder now.
Yes.
And say what they're willing to stand up for.
Right. Yeah.
Otherwise,
I would like to see that too. It seems like Democrats have been very quiet around this issue.
They have. Yeah. And we need them to be louder.
Yes.
And that's why at Pride Fest this year, we need to be louder and prouder. And we will have a table at Pride this year.
Oh, good, good.
And we will be promoting PFLAG to not only the kids, but their parents as well.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's about. It's about the families, right?
I used to sit behind a table And now I think I'll sit in front of the table.
Okay.
So that I can talk to people as they go by.
Right.
If they look
Bring
at
'em
me,
in.
bring them in.
Bring them in. Yeah. Yeah, because people are scared. So
They are
it's
scared.
like, oh, I don't know if I want to go over there. You know?
The kids have been scared to death
Yes.
to say anything.
Yeah.
They're afraid to say the word gay because they've heard on TV
Right.
that you can get kicked out of school, that you can be harassed, that you'll be made to go to a different bathroom.
Take away all the books.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
So these are the kinds of things that are happening in America now.
Yeah.
And we don't want those to happen anymore, let alone in Iowa.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we have to make our voices heard in order to get that to stop. Parents are scared for their kids.
Yeah.
Some of the friends that I have children who are transgender, who are young. They're littles.
Yeah.
What will they do at school?
Yeah. And you were mentioning some people were thinking about moving even from Iowa.
Yes.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine, his little girl is a little, and she will not be able to get gender affirming health care in Iowa once she gets to that stage with this climate. So he said he will move to where he can get that for his child.
Where might that be?
Seattle,
Okay.
Washington State.
Yeah. And that's what 1,500 miles away at least.
Yeah.
We're kind of in the center of the country, and it's way over on the West Coast. Yeah, but Seattle is so different too. It's a big city.
Right.
People would be leaving their social networks here in person. They'd be leaving their towns where maybe they grew up with a deep history here.
Yeah, for them, he says it wouldn't be a bad thing because his family doesn't approve anyway.
Okay.
So he has no familial support.
Okay. Well, that's too bad.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, you may find in some of the bigger cities there's or on the West Coast there is more tolerance, but still, even in those places there is some intolerance.
Yes, yes. Most of our churches in this community are very accepting and welcoming.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, great.
There are just a couple that are not.
Great.
And those being
I was going to ask you about that because I know in a place like this, often the first thing that somebody asks you is what church you're a member of.
Yes. Well, I'm not a member of any church because I am not sure that I'm okay with organized religion.
Okay, yeah. Some friends of mine say that they are followers of Christ or followers of Jesus, but not necessarily Christian.
I'm spiritual.
There you go. There you go.
Yes.
Yes.
I have friends who are Indian or Native American, and they talk of two-spirit people, and that makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
Like I said, everybody's on that line somewhere.
Yeah.
And it moves. It moves.
It's really kind of, some people bring it up that have brought up in this project that our construct of what gender and sexuality are, what those are, is really a part of white supremacy.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and many cultures, even today and also historically, have very different ideas about it.
Yes.
Yes. So this is not anything new, and there's a deep history of it. And it's all over the world.
It's been around for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And trans people are not going to go away. They will continue to exist.
Yeah.
And what I want to do is let them be comfortable.
Yes.
In their existence.
Yes. All these laws do is it really just punishes people.
It does.
It punishes children
for feeling the way that they do,
or needing medical care, or just wanting to feel comfortable at school.
How can we deny that to our children? We want our kids to be happy.
Yeah. Right.
I just don't understand. And how you could stop loving your own child is beyond me.
Yeah.
Just beyond me.
It does happen, though.
I know.
In my peer group, when I was a teenager, a lot of kids were kicked out.
Yes.
And so, what happened when they get kicked out? They have to live on the streets.
Yes.
And they have to do sometimes some criminal things, and sometimes they meet bad people who abuse them. So, it's more than just parents not accepting them. It's pushing them into bad situations.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Kids generally cannot provide for themselves.
Yeah.
They need help.
Yeah, right.
They need help. Right. And I would like to make sure that there's a support system for those kids.
Yeah, yeah. I know in different parts of the country, I've met several activists who are starting LGBT plus youth shelters. Yes. And some of those places are housed within churches as well, welcoming churches, which is nice.
That is nice.
Yeah, that's a good partnership.
Yeah.
I love this kind of homegrown activism as well. I love it that you were part of PFLAG, and then it kind of diminished.
Yeah.
Times were good, also pretty good for a little while.
Yeah.
But now you see a need to bring it back.
Yes.
And I really love that. And you're very Iowan. You're middle-aged.
Born and raised.
Yeah, and you're a mom, and you're out here on the farms. And I just love it that you're an activist, too, and you're very passionate about that. I just love that. Because you're not the face of what people would think of as an activist.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I'm not in the political arena.
Yeah.
I think it's silly to be in the political arena. I don't understand why it's whoever has the most money wins.
Sure.
Instead of what happened to ideology and the things that we need to make this state run well.
Yeah. Right.
Dividing people does not make this state run well.
Yeah.
And that's what they have done, is drawn a line.
Yeah. And also, too, just to get back to, economics, like Iowa has terrible roads, and there's a lot of other things that these legislators could be doing.
Yes.
Except, what they're doing is spending all their time and money on harassing
about
people.
What bathroom kids are going to use.
It's just,
for heaven's sake.
Yeah. How about work on some other issues that that affect everyone, like the roads,
Yes.
So, anyway,
they distract us.
Yeah.
With these other issues, and then they don't get any real work done.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so my goal is to resurrect PFLAG in our community and make our voices heard.
Excellent. Yeah.
And
because I'm sure a lot of parents are feeling very isolated.
They have to be.
Yeah.
They have to be. And I don't want them to feel like they can't even say anything to their neighbors.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with their kids.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with those kids.
Right. Yeah, because if that happens, maybe there would be police involvement or
Yes.
CPS or who knows? Who knows?
Yes, and I know that the Ames Police Department has, they've hired a diversity, equity, and inclusion coordinator.
Okay.
To make sure that city folks are respectful.
Okay.
In their dealings with the public, regardless
that's specifically in Ames.
Yes.
Which is I'm going to guess is a bright blue spot here in Iowa.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Because there's a big university. It's the flagship university.
Iowa State University, which is also very diverse.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Folks from around the world come to Iowa State University.
It's Iowa. I don't know what the state, what the current situation is, but Iowa used to be kind of the standard of education in the country.
Yes.
I've heard that has eroded a little bit because of defunding and charter schools and that sort of thing, at least for, primary school and secondary. But at least for college, it sounds like you're still doing pretty good here.
Yes, and at Iowa State, they have the center, which is their LGBTQ plus division.
Great.
They are in the Memorial Union.
Great.
They have a strong presence on campus.
Great.
As a matter of fact.
Well, they would have to.
Yes.
They would have to have a strong presence.
Yes.
In a place like this, you really have to have a strong presence. Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, we had lavender graduation,
great.
which is for the LGBTQ plus. And as former PFLAG, we did hand out our traditional rainbow mugs with candy in them to the grads. And that was a lot of fun. I was glad to see that they still were having it, regardless of what our governor prefers.
Right. Sometimes people mischaracterize those kinds of things, like having a separate graduation, like, oh, you just want to separate yourselves. Or,
it's in
or you're
addition
special.
to.
Right. It's in addition to.
Yes.
It's a way to form community and to feel less isolated and to celebrate.
Yes.
To celebrate queer and trans students on campus. It's not about separating out. It's an additional celebration. Yeah.
Yeah, because a day later they had their traditional ceremony with all of the other students at Iowa State.
Right.
And some of the other colleges held their own
Excellent
graduation ceremonies as well.
Yeah.
Not just LavGrad.
Right.
There are other colleges
within
Iowa State that provide their own. So that was kind of nice.
Yeah.
And there were lots of people there.
Yeah, great.
Out of 41 grads, we had 36 attend with their families. So it was quite a showing. It was wonderful.
So in terms of PFLAG, it sounds like it doesn't sound like you just have plans. It sounds like you're well down the road of restarting it.
And yet we haven't had our first meeting again yet.
Well, it's pretty soon, though.
Yeah.
In a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So what are you hoping to do? Because, there's a lot going on at the moment.
Yes.
What are you hoping to do, kind of stepwise, in terms of the local community here, but then also thinking about the state?
Well, we have a couple of local legislators, whether they're in the House or the Senate, that come talk to us and work with us. And so I want them to come talk to us and tell us what we can do to help.
Yeah.
What
to
can
support
we do?
them.
Yeah. To help support you, to make sure that you stay in office, and to make sure that we get someone that we can trust as a governor.
Yes.
What can we do? Tell us what to do. We may not be much good at fundraising because I'm strictly not in favor of paying our politicians to get elected.
Okay. Sounds
And
good. I like that.
I'm not really in favor of the amount of money that they make while they're in office, let alone their lifetime perks.
Yeah. I really wish that we would have more controls over that. And also term limits, possibly.
Yeah. What's good for them should be good for us.
Yeah.
And what's good for us should be good for them.
Yeah.
So, do any of you all out there have any LGBTQ children, relatives that you're hiding in the closet because of this climate?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because surely you've seen the T-shirts that say, "Be careful who you hate." It just may be someone you love.
That's true.
And they're just afraid to tell you.
That's true.
When my oldest was young, he said, "Why do your cousins hate me so much?" Because of things that they post on Facebook and against the LGBTQ community. And I said, "Honey, they don't even know you. They are posting these things against the idea of you. It's not you personally. It's the idea of you that they hate."
Yeah. Wow. So you've had to confront it in your own family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are you hoping to do with this local chapter of PFLAG for your neighbors who might be going through something around the new
We need
laws
to
and
let
bills?
those neighbors know that we are here for them.
Yeah.
And we are a resource. We can help you with books that your child can read.
Okay.
No books have been banned yet.
Yeah.
Here, but if they are, we have copies of those books on our own.
Great.
That we can lend out.
Great.
Support group for parents and support group for those kids. Let them know you have a GSA in your schools.
Yeah.
Use them.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are the teachers that are affirmative.
Yeah.
These are the teachers that are willing to be affirmative out loud.
Yeah. Yeah. And also probably just seeing each other.
Yes.
And being in each other's presence is helpful.
Yes.
Because sometimes there's secrecy with good reason around these issues.
Yes,
So
unfortunately.
just seeing a friendly face or, that I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. Or seeing people who maybe some people are scared, some people are less scared, so you can draw on somebody else's strength.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can help with that.
That's right. That's right.
We can help with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome.
So I just want our presence to be out there again.
Yeah.
Let them know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
Well,
I can see you doing it. I mean, you are fired up.
I am. I'm angry.
Yes.
I'm angry that we've let this happen.
Yeah. Right.
I'm angry.
Yeah.
We thought that we were okay, that we maybe didn't have to do any more work.
Right.
But
Progress.
we do.
Yeah. I know. It's cycled back to where.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going backwards.
We are.
Yeah.
And I'm not willing to go further backwards.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go forward again.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know what it was like before.
And I want to reclaim that.
Yeah.
We still have doctors here who are willing to perform surgeries, to perform gender affirming health care.
Yeah.
But they're afraid to now.
Yeah. Right.
I want them to feel secure
Right.
in their jobs.
Right. And teachers as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is
counselors, therapists.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. I mean, this really ripples out to society.
It does.
It does.
It does. And there are so many kids out there now who are having trouble because of COVID and the isolation from COVID.
Right.
And then this happened during and after COVID, that our rights are taken away.
Right.
Now they absolutely think that there's no help out there.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's interesting. Like, yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. So there's the isolation of COVID, which took them away from their,
from their
friends.
peers. Yeah.
Their peers at school and their teachers who they love. I loved my teachers when I was a kid. And then, I can't imagine like just being at home for a couple years. And then afterwards you have state oppression against who you are.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, these kids have to be spinning.
Yeah.
Just thinking, where do I go? What direction do I look in?
Yeah, and a year or two in a child's life is really significant.
Yes.
As older people, it's just a blink, but
even
for a child,
older,
it's
and even
fundamental.
older transgender folks. We had someone start coming to our PFLAG group, and she said that she may not be here now if she had not found us. And that just makes me so happy.
Yeah, yeah.
That she found us.
I know for myself, whenever I saw PFLAG in Pride events, I would always tear up when they went by.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those people for whom my parents gave up on me in various ways.
Yeah.
And so when I would see, peers of mine with their families strolling down the street, it was always so wonderful. And sometimes those parents would go into the crowds and hug people.
Yes.
It was always the best part of Pride parades for me. Besides the Dykes on Bikes, I also love them. But.
Yes. I have my T-shirt, Peace, Love, and Free Mom Hugs.
All right. There you go. There you go. Yeah, I was going to say, it seems like you're rejuvenating this PFLAG chapter, but also it seems like you're parenting a lot of people.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. Adults and children, both.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you have the capacity to extend that out to other people, because that's really necessary right now.
When we were first dealing with this, I didn't know what to do, where to go.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And most of it I learned online.
Okay.
And then I read something online about a PFLAG.
Yeah.
And so I checked, and by golly, there was one in Ames.
Yeah.
So I called, and they invited me to the meeting.
Yeah.
And off and running from there.
Yeah. So you have that experience of kind of being lost and then finding an organization and then getting help.
Yes.
Yeah. So there you
but
go.
I'm a very active parent, let's say.
Sounds like it.
I want the best for my kids.
Yeah, yeah.
And I want the best world for my kids.
Yeah.
And that's not just the straight one.
Yeah, yeah.
I got the trans one too.
Right.
And he's just as deserving.
Right, right.
And so it's for both my kids that I do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you don't know what the future will hold. And if my younger son has children someday, and one of them happens to be gay or lesbian or trans, I want them to know that it's okay.
Right. and they don't have to fight every day for
No.
just basic rights.
How exhausting.
Yes.
How exhausting.
How exhausting, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So that's what I'm about.
Yeah, I can tell. I love it. I love meeting you.
Thank you.
So, do you have any advice, I guess, for parents out there who might be going through this situation or feel isolated?
You're not alone. You are absolutely not alone. There are Facebook groups for parents of transgender kids. There are groups in your area, I'm sure, of PFLAG. In-person meetings.
Yeah.
Check around.
Yeah.
Check with your library.
Yeah.
Your public library is probably one of the best places to find groups that are meeting. I know our library has its own teen room, and so they have gender affirming messages there.
Great.
And
because gay and lesbian and trans people are and bisexual are part of the greater community.
Yeah, they're people too.
Yeah.
They use the library. They use the grocery stores, you know.
So it's entirely appropriate that we are part of society, that we're mentioned in places that aren't just specifically about LGBT people.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And I am an ally.
Yeah.
And whatever you need, I will do my best to find how to help you.
Yeah. Yeah. And for some people who live kind of further out too, it might be worthwhile to go into a place that is more welcoming.
Yes.
Just to visit, to get some resources, to get some support. And then, to go back to your community, your home. But in places that are more welcoming, sometimes you'll find more resources.
Yes.
Yeah.
And especially in these smaller farming communities where it is the typical farm community where boys do chores and girls stay in the house, but times are changing. Girls can do anything, boys can do anything, transgender people can do anything, bisexual people can do anything, and gay and lesbian people can do anything.
Yeah.
They're just people.
Yeah. Right.
And they're probably closer than you think.
Right. Yeah.
But who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
They're just people.
Well, apparently some people care, but really
I don't understand what difference
business.
it makes to them. You don't go around asking the pastor if he has sex with his wife. I mean, good
true.
Lord. I hope not anyway.
Yeah.
Do you ask the grocer if they have sex with their partner?
Sure.
And the manner in which that's done, none of your business.
Right.
So why?
Or what your body looks like underneath your clothing.
Yeah.
Or,
I'm not going to walk around naked so you can see mine. Just that's my personal preference.
Yeah. Most people are very, very private.
Yes, they are. I don't see many naked people walking around. So it's none of their business.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. I love it when people bring me out of the cities because I feel like at heart I'm more of a rural person. I grew up above the Arctic Circle in Alaska, and so it's so nice to actually be in this place that's so quiet and the loudest thing out here are the cars that go by, and then every once in a while, every few minutes. And then the birds. So this is quite a treat for me to come out here.
I'm glad you liked it.
And I can tell you've had a very full life by looking at your garage here. There's just bins of stuff, and I can tell there's still decorations up, and I can tell you've had just such a rich life. So much, all this camping equipment and musical instruments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet this is a fun house. I bet this is a fun house to grow up in.
We did have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're a good mom, I can tell.
the kids and I would go camping and with another gal and her kids from Des Moines who were also marginalized because her son is biracial.
Okay.
And she adopted her grandson, but her son. And we would all go camping together, and that was a good time.
Yeah, I can tell.
We were reminiscing. Remember all the Memorial weekends we used to camp? Yes.
Yeah, it's Memorial Day today, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, I think we always have to be vigilant about our freedom.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that it's always a struggle. Hopefully one day we won't have to struggle so hard, that we'll just accept that people have rights and, you know.
And they're for everyone.
Yeah, that's why they're called rights.
Not just certain people. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for meeting with me.
Thank you, Shane.
Yeah, I love it. I love it that you're this fiery activist out here in the country, in the farmland.
Thank you.
We need more of y'all. All right. Thanks, y'all. Thanks for listening in. I have one more interview here in central Iowa, and then I'm off to Nebraska.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day.
I'm also a garbage activist.
What? What? Tell me about that.
Here in Story County,
Okay.
we have the City of Ames, the Arnold O. Chandler City of Ames Resource Recovery Plant.
Okay.
And we started operations in...
I noticed that there was a Story Conservation Area sign up.
Yep,
Okay.
over that way. But we have the Resource Recovery Plant, and we've been in operation since 1975.
Okay.
We take the garbage from Story County.
Yes.
And we process it, which means we shred it up with a giant shredder.
Yes.
We take the metals out, and then we shred it again so it's about the size of a baseball. And we use the fluffy burnable portion of it in the City of Ames power plant to make electricity.
Okay.
So 70% of our garbage goes to make electricity.
Yeah, I heard that it was a large proportion of our garbage is actually burnable.
Only 30% goes to landfill.
Okay, great.
70% is reused and recycled.
Well, Alaska could probably learn something from that, because we don't recycle at all. Part of it is that we don't have a smelter there, and if we ship something,
it's very expensive.
Very expensive.
Yeah.
So people use that cost benefit thing.
Right.
But the problem is that at some point we just have mountains and mountains of garbage.
Yes.
And unfortunately, in Alaska, our dumps are not very well constructed. They are actually unlined,
right?
Because we have permafrost.
Yes.
But that permafrost is changing.
It's getting...
So it's they're leaking actually.
Yeah.
So it's a big problem up there.
Right. Landfills here are lined so that leachate from the garbage does not get out into the drinking water.
And there's all kinds of stuff. There's batteries and whatnot.
We have buried
lead.
Everything.
Yes.
Everything. And it will come back to haunt us.
Yeah, it will.
And even in the lined landfills here in the lower 48, no contractor will guarantee the liners past 50 years.
Yeah, right.
It's physically impossible.
Right.
So it will eventually get out.
Yeah.
So we've done our part the last 47 years by not burying 1.5 million tons of garbage.
Yeah.
And so we've only buried 500,000 tons of 2 million that were available. And so we have done our part. I can't believe that people still believe that landfilling is the way to go. You don't plant garbage and expect flowers to bloom.
Right.
So why are we doing it?
Yeah. Actually, the little village I grew up in Alaska, we had a dump that it was right on a beach. And so,
out to sea.
Yeah, out to sea, and then the birds would come and pick at it, and the bears. Yes, exactly. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And it was just this ugly pile out there. So strange.
Yeah.
So strange.
It's depressing.
Yeah, it is.
To know that there's all this garbage out there.
Yeah.
In the Ames landfill, story has it that from a good authority, he drove it. There was a bulldozer that they used to compact the garbage every day.
Okay.
And they repaired it until they were told one day that there were no more parts to repair that thing. And they buried it where it sat. Okay. That's a lot of metal.
Yeah, that is. Up in Alaska, we have a lot of cars that people just kind of drive into the forest and then abandon.
Yes, because there's no metal recycling.
Yeah.
It's cost prohibitive.
Yeah. So if you're a millionaire or a billionaire out there, think about helping out Alaska and bring up a big barge and take all that stuff to a smelter. You'll be doing a good thing.
And you would make a little bit of money.
You'll recoup a little bit of it back.
And you put metal back into the cycle, the loop.
That's right. The industrial cycle.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, I've been at the resource recovery plant for 30 years.
Wow. Are you like a volunteer, or what is your role there?
I'm the secretary/educator there.
Okay.
And so, yeah, they pay me.
Okay, great.
To be the cheerleader for resource recovery.
Okay. So you're kind of a multi-issue activist.
Yes, I am. Actually, yes, I am.
Have you ever written anything up? Have you ever been published?
I haven't.
Okay. How about no op-eds? No, nothing like that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, you might consider it at some point.
I should.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because, there's a lot of stories out there that are against trans people and that sort of thing. And, your experience with this issue might be, compelling.
Yeah.
In a public sense, if you were to, I don't know what the newspapers are here, but it's usually kind of a low bar to get in an op-ed or a letter to the editor.
Yeah. And the public radio, KHOI.
There you go.
Probably would be, I talk on there anyway for garbage.
Okay.
I don't know why I couldn't talk about LGBTQ.
I think that you probably could.
I'm sure I could. Yeah.
Sometimes I joke with my testing the mic for these interviews. This is National Public Radio.
Yes.
Because they always sound so whispery and calm.
Welcome to rural central Iowa's public radio. Yes. It's Sunday morning about...
Yes. Anyway, this is just my weirdo little project, but I'm hoping that it helps some people. I'm having fun doing it. I'm having fun definitely seeing the country.
Good.
And meeting people.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I especially like it when I meet people who, like I said earlier, I wouldn't expect to be activists.
Yeah.
And that is totally my bias, right? Because I'm used to a particular kind of what an activist looks like. I have that bias. So I love it that you're blowing my mind, that you're just this multi-issue activist.
I'm just a mom.
Yeah, and everybody can do that.
Anybody can.
Everybody can take on issues like this in your community. Yeah.
We had Bigwig's Bar, West Ames,
what is that?
It was a gay bar.
Okay.
And there were a lot of drag queens who would frequent the bar.
Sure.
And we would have drag bingo.
Okay. Well, that's fun.
Unfortunately, he's got to close.
Oh.
This weekend.
Oh, really?
Because he's just losing money.
Okay.
Now the students have gone home. He'll have even less business, and so before he doesn't have any money for supper. The college
students from Ames.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he is going to close. Darn it.
Okay. A lot of gay bars have gone under.
Yeah.
As a result of COVID, mostly. Yeah. Yeah.
Des Moines still has them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's not too much trouble.
Yeah. It's too bad because oftentimes, people just think of them as places where they sell alcohol and stuff and have drag events, but it's more than that. It is. It's a community. It's kind of a community center. In a way.
Camaraderie.
Yeah, camaraderie.
Fun and games.
Yeah, like bingo, like you were just saying.
Yeah.
There's actually a documentary out about the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, which is a drag sort of lineage, and they have bingo in a small town near the Russian River area of California, which is impacted economically in terms of working class people, and so they're there. Because there's a gay resort that's nearby. And so there's kind of this interesting mix of rural and working class and these drag queens. And they put on events that raise funds for the community.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And how can you hate somebody who does that, who's willing to do that, even in a hostile atmosphere? Yeah.
City of Ames and Iowa State University put on an event called Rummage Rampage every year. It's in the parking ramp
Okay.
at Iowa State,
Okay.
the intermodal facility. We begin July 28th and run through August 5th. It is the biggest garage sale
Okay.
for 9 days.
9 days.
9 days.
That's quite a garage sale.
We staff the sale with volunteers from area nonprofits.
Sure. Okay.
Last year, we had 1,700 hours to be worked. We had 41 agencies that signed up. Each agency has to work at least 10 hours.
Okay.
The percentage of hours that they work is the percentage of money that they get at the
wonderful.
end of the sale.
Wonderful.
Folks in this area can drive
Great.
through the ramp and drop stuff off
Great.
that they don't want anymore,
Great.
that still has some use. It's couches, it's bed frames, it's dressers,
Clothes.
kitchen tables, no clothes.
Oh, no clothes, really?
We don't want the clothes.
Okay.
That's too much.
Okay.
But housewares,
Okay.
tables, we have kitchen tables and chairs, occasional chairs, couches.
So mostly furniture.
TV stands,
Okay.
yeah. Unique finds and
Okay.
antiques.
Okay.
Exercise
Kind of like
stuff.
the little cars up here.
Yes.
There's like little Hot
Wheels.
Was it Hot Wheels cars?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I wanted
And-
to get it in frame here.
My husband builds models,
Okay.
and so does my son. So,
Okay.
yeah. But we
I
put
always
this on.
coveted Hot Wheels when I was little.
Oh, they're so cool.
Yeah.
We put this sale on last year. We made $49,000
Oh, wow.
over the 8 days of sales.
Sure.
And that went right back out into our
Yeah.
community, to those
Yeah.
nonprofits.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
That's known as efforts like this are known as mutual aid.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
neighbors helping neighbors.
And anybody can come through and buy stuff,
Yeah.
not just students.
Yeah.
It's priced to move. Well,
Okay.
our goal is to keep it out of the landfill.
Yeah, yeah.
And to help students out and folks who need this furniture and these housewares.
I love it that it's kept locally too, because sometimes people will give to big organizations. Not to say anything bad about those organizations, but sometimes that money doesn't come back locally.
Right. And I've seen
Yeah.
them put some of the things that we've taken to Salvation Army.
Yeah.
I've seen them put it in the garbage.
Oh,
Or to Goodwill.
sure.
I've seen them put it in the garbage.
because
And
they
so
get just maybe too much.
they get
stuff.
inundated.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we have Habitat for Humanity that we can take furniture to
I
as
love
well.
those stores.
And the Goodwill, Overflow, Thrift Store, and Salvation Army and Habitat all get a chance
Yeah.
at the leftovers before we take anything to
yeah,
landfill.
yeah. I love those Restore Habitat for
Yes.
Humanity stores.
Yes.
Just because I love old tools and oddities, and
Yes.
people will bring that stuff there, like just weird construction material or whatever, and I feel like I'm like pretend handyman or something like that,
And you're looking at history.
yeah, and especially with those old tools that sometimes people bring in. I
Yeah.
just love that stuff. And it's, of course, a very good charity, a direct charity.
Direct charity,
That
yeah.
builds houses for people. So
Yeah.
I actually really love, of our presidents, I really loved that Jimmy Carter started that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He went to hospice, but then he
yes.
went home.
Right. He, of all of our presidents in my lifetime, I feel like he's really done so. I mean, he did what he had to do as a president. But then after he was a president,
Yes.
he just did so much. He
Yes.
was like he's a peacemaker
Yes.
and building houses and just tireless activist.
Such a good man.
Yeah.
Such a good
and using his Christian values too.
Yes.
Every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Love it.
Absolutely.
Love it. Well, thank you so much again. we had a little detour there.
Sidebar.
But that's really what my project is about. I love the tangents, and I love hearing that
Yeah.
you're doing so much more, actually.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself, though.
Thank you. I will.
Because sometimes activism can be hard.
You can burn out easily.
Yeah.
And that's probably what happened before with PFLAG.
Okay.
But now we have something to work on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you had a break, and now you're
Yeah.
rejuvenated.
Yep. Because we're in danger again.
You have to.
Yep.
You just have to do
Got
it.
to.
You have to do it.
Got to break it out.
Yep. She wants to bang on the table.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank
All right.
you. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, well, you're welcome. I mean, I'm really enjoying it. At some point, like you said, there's some burnout and I have to take some rests and whatnot. I'm actually going to spend a little bit of time in Salt Lake City to make some money because I'm driving across Canada and petrol is really expensive.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Will you be anywhere near Winnipegosis?
I have no idea where that is.
It's on Winnipegosis Lake.
Okay.
It's in Manitoba.
I'm going through Alberta. Yeah. Manitoba, I believe, is a little bit east. Yeah. I'm going through Alberta and then through a little bit of BC and then Yukon Territory.
Okay.
So it's just a long trip and, gas there can be 2 or 3 times what it is here in the U.S. So, yeah.
My son's first doctor and nurse moved to, they're gay. They're lesbians.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. And they practiced here in town, which was just crazy. And they moved to Winnipegosis.
Okay.
And she's doctor up there.
Okay.
And her wife draws blood and keeps the books and
phlebotomist.
Yeah. And they love it.
Yeah. Well,
they love it.
That's the thing, right? If you are living in a rural community, you really have to, accept who people are, especially if they are skilled people,
Yeah,
good on them.
They don't have many people in Winnipegosis, but they're well loved.
Yeah, yeah.
And they serve.
And then the community has great healthcare providers.
Yes, they do. And they have an indigenous community that they serve 44 miles away as well.
Okay, great. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Cool.
So they were just here this last week for her mom's memorial.
Oh, okay.
And so we got to see them after, it's been almost 7 years. They went to Canada in 2017.
Why did they move up there, by the way? I mean, you don't have to go into specifics or something.
They felt more welcomed up there.
Okay.
They needed a doctor in that community.
There you go.
And they weren't feeling all that comfortable here.
Okay.
And
so that was this community's loss. And
yes, definitely.
And that's what can happen, right?
Absolutely.
When there's oppression, especially state oppression, people leave and they take their skill set with them,
right?
Whatever that is.
And their skill set here was LGBTQ.
Yeah.
We're sad, but he's found other health care locally. And they're still willing to provide
good
gender affirming care. So
good.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's...
But if that goes away,
scary.
Minnesota said they'll take care of our kids. They'll take care of our trans.
Yeah, some states are and cities, even if they're in a red state, are becoming kind of sanctuaries.
But they've become already inundated. And appointments are months out now.
Well, those states need to, if they're going to take in people, they have to plan for that.
Yes.
Because it is coming. This is coming.
Yes.
So be proactive, increase those resources so that people who are coming to those states or those cities have something that they can rely on.
Our ACLU, you hear, has taken on so many cases from surrounding states that they're backed up. They can't get to our people.
Well, that's the thing, right? They want to bombard with these bills and laws and wear out the resources. Use up all the money. Yeah, that could fight them. Yeah.
I don't like to donate money for political stuff, but we're going to have to.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get this stuff passed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'll have to figure out how to get around that bias of mine.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm somebody who doesn't really get involved in electoral politics, not even voting all that much.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to have to probably start doing that.
You have to vote.
Yeah.
It's the only way.
Right.
My son, my transgender son, refused to vote in the last elections.
Yeah. Well, some people call
He
it...
must.
Some people call it a diversity of tactics. So if you want something to get done, a lot of people have to be involved.
Yes.
There's me, the weirdo traveling guy, and there's you, the very staid Iowa person who's doing local activism. So there's kind of this diversity. And then we also have to do different things. There's everything from the, arguably not very useful, but people do it anyway. Voting.
Yeah.
That's my bias. There's voting, which is the minimum that you could do as a citizen, to all the way up to the kind of activism you're doing, or the activism where people are in the streets protesting at, state capitals and that sort of thing. There's all kinds of things that people can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. All kinds. So find your role in it.
We got to find our roles, and we got to step up.
Yep.
We got to step up.
Yep. Well, we've tried to end this interview several times. But I do have to...
That's another thing about Iowans. We like to talk.
Yeah. I do have to move on, though. I do have a one this afternoon, and I didn't realize we were so far north. So
yeah.
All right,
it's just 45 minutes. No worries.
Yeah, just way over there across the state.
Yeah. Thanks, Shane.
Anyway, thank you. Yeah, thank you for the work you're doing.
You're welcome.
All right.